What is going on, Dominators? Welcome back to the Podcast Domination Show. On today's episode, we have a repeat guest and a guy who I'm always fascinated with because he helps podcasters do more with less and scale their content faster, and that is Hani Mourra. If you don't know Hani, he is a founder of Repurpose.io, along with a lot of other tools that podcasters can use and I use myself. So stick around and definitely jump into the Facebook group, the Podcasters Inner Circle, because we do a live training in there on how you can repurpose your content, whether you're posting it on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. He covers a variety of ways you can multiply your content very cleanly, very simply with one or two clicks. So enjoy and make sure you check out the live training with Hani, as it's pronounced properly. And be sure to say hi to Hani over at hanimourra.com. And on Facebook, he's also in the group. I'll catch you later. Bye.
So how do you start a successful podcast that allows you to build your name online, build your network, and also helps you bring in leads, customers, and generate a huge audience that is going to love you and love the content you put out? That's the question we aim to solve on this podcast, the Podcast Domination Show. And my goal is to help you figure out what works in growing and monetizing your show and help you implement those strategies in your show today. My name is Luis Diaz. I am pumped to have you here on the Podcast Domination Show. So let's get into today's episode.
Hani, man, I'm really excited to have you on here. This is actually, I think you're the second time guest I've had on the show. Some podcasters don't like bringing people on twice. But I think life's dynamic. People change. We have updates. You've got new content. I know you're always learning and tweaking stuff. So it's great to have you back on because I know you can always share some really interesting stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's always good to connect and share what's new. Things change so quickly around here in this content-based tools and strategies, and it's constantly changing.
Yeah, exactly. And you told me some updates. You got some cool stuff you're going to share later on Repurpose, like what's the updates, especially with Facebook changing and well as Instagram changing and all the other places. We had a conversation before your latest update, which is like February. We talked about you working to get like a snippet for IGTV, and you did that. And I was like, all right. So that was an awesome update. But to kind of zoom out a little bit, could you kind of tell what you do, who you are, and kind of what your main tool, I know Repurpose.io, which I use, what it does, give people a kind of an overview.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been basically a automation geek. Like I love automating tasks. So kind of I've been about 6 years now, 5.5 years, 6 years, been creating software tools for content creators, like podcasters, live streamers, video creators, just to automate the tasks of distributing the content to multiple platforms.
Yeah.
Without having to like worry about downloading, uploading. My internet's too slow. I don't have time to change the size from vertical to horizontal. All those like little nitty-gritty details that are not important for your business. It frees up the content. The software lets the content creator just focus on the content, which is the most important part. And then these tools are set up to automate the distribution, converting, all that not so fun stuff.
Exactly. And if you have a lot of content, or if you create a lot of content, it's something that becomes very apparent that this is time consuming as hell very soon. And it becomes a thing you either need to hire out for, or you need to figure out how to get good at, or you need to create software or find software like yours that actually does this stuff for you. But in one of the things I get all the time from people is, how do I grow my podcast, and how do I get my message out there, build my audience, build my brand? And at the end of the day, it comes down to taking the content you have, putting it in front of the right people, and creating an experience for them and sharing your wisdom, which is not you can't really do that well if you don't have these tools, or you don't have the systems in place to cut out what you need and take it to where you want to put it. So I wanted to dive in, and I know we talked about this before. When it comes to podcasters, let's break down kind of the top places they can reshare their content. So a podcast episode comes out, maybe record it on Audacity, or maybe a Zoom call like this, what are some of the places that you recommend people send that stuff to so it gets maximum exposure?
All right. So the first one, which is probably the easiest one to set up, and you get a lot of help from your podcast host, is podcast directories. People always think that Apple Podcasts is the only directory that you want to be on.
Yeah,
Definitely, you definitely want to be on there, no doubt. But now Spotify's in the game. Stitcher has been around for a long time. There's a lot of these, what they're called directories. So the beauty is you don't have to upload content there. You use the submission process. You go through one time, you submit your podcast feed, and basically every time you publish a new episode, it's syndicated out to all these platforms.
Yeah.
And Google's in the game as well, Google Podcasts. So you definitely want to be in their directory so you're found, and then also make it easier for people to discover you on their mobile devices. Not everyone's using an Apple device, so they don't have access to Apple Podcasts. So that's the number one place. That's the easiest thing. Usually your podcast host has an option that will help you, or a few clicks, it will submit your podcast for you. So that's like a no-brainer. Do it right away. It's simple. Do it once, and then
you forget about it. You're done.
Yeah, you're done. You don't have to worry about it again. So that's number one, podcast directories, beyond Apple Podcasts, of course.
Yeah.
Number two, they're all equally important. So they're not in an exact order, but I want to say your own home base, either your blog or your website. That's the reason is you want to make it easy for people who don't know what a podcast is or don't even care what a podcast is. They want to be able to go somewhere. You send them a link, whether through a newsletter or not. Go somewhere where they can just click a big play button and just consume.
Yeah.
Right. So make it super easy, nice, clear player. Something that's mobile friendly, something that someone who doesn't care what a podcast is can consume your content. So definitely you want it on your blog. There's a lot of stuff you can do there. A lot of advantages of being on your blog. It's just another blog post, more content on your site. You can do a little SEO as well. You have opportunities to capture email addresses. There's a lot of advantages of having it on your own home base, which we can talk about a little bit later. But definitely don't forget your blog. And people always say, why do I want it on my website? It's available on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, but
right.
A lot of people don't know what that is or even how to get to it. So you
get found easier if you're in Google. If you're in Google and they find your site, then they're not going to go to Apple. They're going to go to your website, and that's why you should have it on there as well too. So,
exactly. Great point. Yeah, and then number two, well, I guess that's number three. Yeah. I guess just to lump it all in one category is social. Like you want people to consume your episode or parts of your episode on social media, Facebooks, YouTubes, Instagrams, Twitters, wherever they hang out. And you can always share links, but those platforms don't like links. They don't like linking out. They don't want people leaving their platform. So by turning it into a video, it's a native piece of content, which means that someone can consume it on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitter without having to click through and leave the site. And the advantage is you get more love from those platforms like Facebook's, Instagram. No one likes them, their audience to leave that platform, especially Facebook's and Instagram. And no one likes links. LinkedIn the same way. Like if you put links somewhere, you feel like you don't get as much love in the feed. So you don't want to link out. You want native content to be consumed on their devices. And from a user's perspective, like a consumer's perspective, they're scrolling their feed, they see a little video, and just if they pause for a second, it usually starts playing. So there's no friction. You're getting rid of that friction by putting it in native format on those platforms. And that's typically video. Gotcha.
Yeah. And sometimes if it's not video, it's the waveforms. At the end of the day, you want to just be able to maintain that attention. And I know I have customers that they've never listened to my podcast. They don't care about my podcast, but they heard my podcast through Facebook or Instagram, and they met me through there. So it's like, the obviously the benefit of podcasting is you have a anchor piece of content that you can distribute and cut up however you want. What are some other places? Are there any other new places or things you're seeing people doing that are working? I know you've got a lot of obviously eyes in the back of repurpose.io, some of it which you can't share, obviously, but some of it you could see from maybe a observer's perspective. Have you seen anything work in the future or right now that you see a lot of people getting success with?
I mean, the the video, like converting a piece of audio into a video, that's becoming, people call it an audiogram. There's many names for it. Basically, you want it by putting it in video format, it just gives you a lot more flexibility.
Yeah.
So there's the obvious choice, putting things on YouTube. A lot of people don't use Facebook anymore. Like a lot of people don't publish to Facebook, but hey, I see no reason not to. You're missing an opportunity here. It's video. It's a piece of video. You upload it to Facebook. The beauty is, people say, hey, I'm not going to listen to a whole episode on Facebook. But if you got consistency, content's about consistency. So if you're in their feed every week because you publish a new episode, it's just a reminder, your logo, your brand, your presence, you're there and top of mind on their social platforms. So don't forget about Facebook. Instagram, people do, not Instagram, sorry, Instagram TV.
Yes.
That's one thing where people are seeing, because the advantage of IGTV, that you got a longer limit. Like Instagram's only got a 1 minute limit to a video versus IGTV for most people, most like content creators now are probably 10 minutes. There's a few who have an hour if you have a lot of following, but for most people it's 10 minutes long. So 10 minutes is definitely better than 1 minute to share out parts of your podcast. Now, if most podcasts are probably not 10 minutes short, so you want to trim it out to pull out the good stuff, right? Pull out a good quote or put something that captures people's attention and share that out on IGTV. And what I like about that is it also goes out to your IG feed as well. Instagram shares to your feed. So if you're worried about, hey, nobody's following me on IGTV, whatever, don't worry about it. It goes to your IG feed as well. So you have it there. There's all about hashtags. I'm not an expert in this, but all I hear is hashtags. So make sure you put some hashtags in there,
right,
on the IG platforms. You can do clips on Twitter. To be honest, it's all about putting it out and see where you get the most response, because
and then
you have an idea you don't know your audience until you really look at the numbers, right? If you see people are consuming more on Twitter, you're like, oh wow, I didn't know I had that many people follow me on Twitter. For me, Twitter is like, no one even cares what I say on Twitter because I don't say regularly. And when I post, it's like crickets. So it's a combination of where your audience hangs out and also how often are you publishing there.
Got it.
All these algorithms are like, the more you publish regularly, the more attention you'll get on all platforms. Just keep that in mind. If you publish a video now, you're probably going to get me on Twitter, nothing, no love. If I do it every 2 days, every 3 days, consistently for the next few weeks, I'm going to start getting more
traction.
Yeah. So consistency is key.
True. And it's funny enough, people think it's not the same with podcasting, but I find to be, if you can podcast more frequently, A, you're going to figure out what works faster, and B, you're going to get in because whenever you drop a podcast, it shows up at the top of your feed. So whenever people jump on there, you will actually be there and you'll have good real estate there. So I find volume to be better especially for people who don't particularly know what they should be posting or sharing. So throw everything against the wall, see what sticks. You mentioned a couple of social platforms. One thing you didn't mention was LinkedIn. And I know you got some cool stuff to do with LinkedIn, or if you can give us kind of an update on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn is I'm hearing a lot more people. They've released video, I can't remember now, maybe a year ago. Now they're into live streaming as well. So LinkedIn is really they were a little bit behind on that space in terms of video and live streaming, but now they're really pushing it. And usually when a platform pushes videos and live streams, they give more love to those in their feed, which means your content, that video content will get more attention than non-video content.
Right.
Then they also, I think the limit for videos on a personal page or your personal profile on LinkedIn, I think also 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I recently discovered, don't quote me on this because I don't know where I read it, but I was able to test it. If you have a company page, they have these things called company pages, which are almost equal to Facebook pages.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people are using them on LinkedIn, but apparently they get more attention than stuff on your personal. So if I post to a company page, especially a video, I can do up to a 30-minute video on my company page versus 10. And then B, apparently videos and content on pages get more love in the feed, more attention than your personal stuff. That's what I hear. I haven't tested it. I'm not going to say it's true or false, but this is what I read, that LinkedIn is trying to push company pages so people can post on their company page. So if you have a podcast, hey, start up a company page for your podcast and publish your episodes there.
Yeah. And they have groups too, right? I believe they have groups.
Groups as well. Yeah. Yeah. Groups work well. I've had a group way back. I haven't really tinkered with groups too much on LinkedIn, but yeah, they've had groups for a long time.
Exactly. Yeah. I haven't tinkered with them either. I'm like, there should be a way to leverage them. I don't know. I know Facebook groups work great, but it's just a different community of people. So that's one thing. Funny enough, I'm calling this episode the King of Automation because all the stuff you do, I do think you're pretty damn good at it. And I think you've got enough tools to back that. Before I knew you personally, I bought a tool called Simple Podcast Press. And it had a few cool things to do on it that others like couldn't find other places that you could do this stuff on. So I wanted to go through because this is kind of coming in. This is the reason why I'm bringing this up because yesterday I had to go look for a new podcast player for a client, and we couldn't really find a good one. And I ended up using like Radio Public because it was fast and it was easy. We needed something right now with very simple, with low friction. But in revisiting that, I just remembered your plugin. I was like, oh, I'm going to talk to Hani tomorrow. This could be perfect. So if you could kind of break us down and with podcast players, what we're talking about is a little media player that's on your site. What are some things, not specifically to Simple Podcast Press, but what would be some things you would include on there that to look for when someone's picking this? Because I feel like every podcaster is going to have this question.
Yes. First and foremost, it has to be mobile friendly. So it has to look good on mobile because a lot of podcasters, one of the advantages of podcasting is it's consumable on the go. So people listen on their phone. So definitely mobile friendly. Make sure your site's mobile friendly, but also make sure that the player behaves properly on your mobile friendly site. So and then as kind of part of that is it's a big play button. Like I don't say big, like it's this big, take up the whole page, but have a play, make sure the player, it's clear that it's an audio player that someone can click play and just listen. The whole goal is land on the page, see a play button, click play and start consuming. So that's kind of number one, mobile friendly and a play button that's just, that it's clear that it's an audio player. Other things is, there could be tied to the player, but they can also be incorporated into your site as well. Is now that you have their attention on your site, they're sitting there, they landed on your page. You want to have them take an action, whether it's some kind of buttons near the player or beside the player or on your sidebars so that they can take a call to action. It could be maybe sign up for a webinar or learn more about our products or whatever call to action you want them to take. Make sure you have some buttons that can link people out. And then kind of the next level to that is email opt-in. If you can offer them, entice them with a giveaway, have an email opt-in very close to the player because kind of their focus when they first land there is the player. Their eyes go there, they click play. And then if you're trying to capture their email address, grow your email list, definitely put that near or around the player. So that can be a function of the player or it could be a function of your site as well. And then this is kind of a bonus, something we added because of a lot of people kind of asked for it. And I think it's a great user experience for your listener is if you spend a few minutes to take key takeaways, like make a list of 5 key takeaways for that episode.
Yeah.
And then put some timestamps beside them. And the reason is you want, like when people come to your site, sometimes they're not going to sit through an hour-long episode. If they can like jump to a specific point in your interview because they read below it, it says, oh, at the 2-minute mark, Hani says something about automation. Oh, I want to listen. So putting these timestamps below the player gives people an ability to kind of jump to that player. Some players, like Simple Podcast Press, we can make it clickable so that the player will jump automatically. Even if it's not the end of the world, but just the fact that you've taken time to summarize and give timestamps of when key things happened. Right. It's a good listener experience.
Gotcha.
And it's not really a function of the player. It's more of a function of you, the creator, to spend those few minutes and make note of those times.
Totally. I think that's, it's some of them, you were saying about the mobile friendly. Some of them look weird because like the site will be mobile friendly, but the podcast player won't be. So it just makes it a pain in the butt. I've had that before. I've had it where the button's super small and you don't even know where press. So it's kind of annoying. So little things like that, especially if you're looking to be promoted on bigger stages, that's huge. They look at details like that and like, I don't know if I should promote this guy or gal. So super important stuff. Now you've got. Now I wanted to share with you. I wanted to definitely transition this into kind of repurposing any kind of piece of content. And I know in podcast movement, you had an amazing like just little like it was basically a flow chart that simplified exactly how to do this. I want to share this with everybody. So I guess if you could, I'll find it if not, but could you send the repurpose.io kind of flow chart that you shared? And I'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll send you the link. It's repurpose.io/workflow.
Got it. Awesome.
I will link right to it, but I'm happy to kind of go through it.
Totally.
And some details. If you want me to go share my screen, I can walk through.
I do.
As a audio creator, what things you could and should be doing, or I should recommend doing with your content.
Right.
Then also, if you start with video, like you do live streams like we're doing, or any kind of video content, video interviews, solo videos, show you what else you can do with that. So there's almost like two workflows. I'd like to walk through high level just to kind of give people the gist of things, or like just to get a mental visual picture of what the kind of things they can do with their content.
I like that. I think that is definitely what I want to do. Because I think a lot of people don't, it's much more easier to do it, to actually take action on it and execute on it when you see the final piece, right? Or the final product.
Right. When you have a roadmap, almost like a roadmap of kind of where your content should go. Can you see my screen okay?
I can. And okay. I'm going to hit go live here. So we're going to hop on Facebook as well. And
I'll just wait.
Let me, oh no, I don't. Yeah, I can see your screen. I just want to make sure everyone else can see it. And for those listening on the podcast, so to give you the audio rundown, there's ways to actually go from a podcast to YouTube, a podcast to Facebook, a podcast to many different places that you would otherwise have to go manually. So, Hani, like let's just break it down for people. You've got some really awesome like examples here. So, please walk us through how this works.
All right, let's do it. So this workflow is focused on audio creators, like audio podcasters who their first source of content, their primary source of content is audio based.
Right.
There's no video recording. So number one thing you want to do, we talked about earlier, is to fire that off to your WordPress site. A lot of advantages. It's your home base. You want your content on your WordPress. Sorry, not your WordPress. Any site. It could be on your website. I'm a big fan of WordPress, and we have a plugin that can take that automatically and publish it to your WordPress site for you. But even if you don't have WordPress, definitely get a player on your site. Number one, it's your home. You need content on your site. You're good to go. And then social, you want to be on social. Like you want to be on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Twitter.
Yeah.
But you can't do that with audio, of course. So with our tool, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you can get a better feel.
Perfect.
Our tool is, the idea is we take your audio content, we make a nice looking video out of it. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Yeah, so you make a nice looking video. So, and then you have the choice of a vertical, horizontal, vertical, or square, depending on the platform you're going to. And you also have the choice of full episode, like, the full 30 minutes, hour, whatever long your show is, or little clips that you can choose. And the advantage is, the idea is depending on what platform you're going to, some allow you to upload longer episodes and some just don't. So you have flexibility there. So let's step back a little bit. So my recommendations, again, it's not set in stone. This is what I recommend to people is you're doing an episode, you're doing an audio episode, post it on YouTube and on Facebook, the full episode.
Gotcha. And you can have all this set up, right? You can have it set up to where it cuts for some platforms. It doesn't cut for other platforms. It sends to Dropbox.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
So the whole system is rule based. The whole software repurpose.io is rule based. So I can make a rule that says go from audio into vertical into horizontal video and onto YouTube. That's one workflow.
Right.
Audio to horizontal to Facebook. Another example of a workflow. I can go. Another workflow can be go to Square version and give me some snippet, like give me a short clip, and then send that off to upload it to my Twitter directly. So each arrow that you follow along is what we call a workflow or a rule in our software. So this is what we recommend that you set up. There's some platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram TV, and Instagram. We don't have a direct integration with. We can't upload directly. The third parties can't upload directly to them. So what we say is we have a Dropbox and a Google Drive as your temporary location. So these videos just show up automatically, boom, 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 to your Google Drive, to your Dropbox, and then you can take them from there and post them on these three platforms: IGTV, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
So ideally with every episode, let's just say you had it set up to where it would cut out. Can you cut out multiple clips at the same time? Like cut out 3 pieces? So basically you could have it set up to where you produce an episode, then it automatically cuts out 3 or 4 different snippets, sends it automatically to Dropbox, and then it's waiting in your Dropbox to where either you or an assistant can take it and then put it on social platforms.
Exactly. And you can choose a format as well. Like if you know this, I'm sending it to my IGTV, I want it vertical. If I know I'm sending it to my LinkedIn and my Twitter, I recommend Square to go for those platforms. But you set up, every rule can have its own settings and its own look and feel, its own custom design. We have a lot of templates in place, but you can also upload your own branded design. So every workflow, every rule can be configured separately in terms of look and feel, size, full length versus short, etc. So
right, and you can customize the thumbnail. You can upload your own thumbnails too, correct? And you also have some stock ones for the videos.
Yeah, the thumbnail. Well, actually, the thumbnails come in, like the Square thumbnail comes in from your feed automatically. So the beauty of this system is you don't need to actually upload episodes to our software. You just copy and paste your podcast feed from whatever podcast host you're with, Libsyn, Spreaker, it doesn't matter. We support all of them.
Right.
Your feed, paste it into our system, and then whatever image you have for your artwork that's in your feed, or your guest art, if you have a guest there, you upload the guest image to your podcast host. We automatically pull that in for you.
Gotcha.
So you don't even need to touch the episode. It's already going to have your guest in there. It's already going to have the title. And even your show notes, all your whole description that you do on your podcast host, we pull that and we post that to YouTube, to Facebook automatically. So it's literally touchless. Like once you set it up, you could touch and tweak on a per episode basis.
Right.
Wanted to, you're welcome to, but you don't need to if you like to be hands off.
No, yeah. And I recommend for people like what I did when I first started, I just set up one workflow. I was like, all right, let's just get all my podcasts to YouTube. Great. Let's get them to the Facebook page. Great. Let's get them to Dropbox. And it just made it really simple so I could start to play with the system and start to see the power behind it. And then I got more technical and got in there and changed colors and whatnot. So this is just the video, the audio track. Correct.
This is starting with an audio piece and how to get it onto social and also onto, if you have a WordPress site, we have a plugin that will pull that in, automatically make the episode page for you, put our play for you, etc.
Right.
So if you don't have WordPress, you don't need to use this option. But the whole idea is getting it on social, and your site is it's critical and it's time consuming if you to do each one.
Oh gosh. Yeah. And the funny thing is, for podcasters, this is great. A lot of times, if you're a podcaster like me, I will go on Facebook Live and I'll do a video, and I'm like, oh, I should use that into a podcast. There are ways you can leverage that same video and have it edited to a certain extent, or mixed at least, and then set up to ready to go to be a podcast. And that's what really, I think, first of all, that first thing that kind of got me interested in this, because I was like, oh, this is great, because it means I can just share all the work I've been doing on Facebook with with another audience. So, that's
a perfect transition right into the next thing, which is basically starting with video, whether it's live video or it's an upload or a pre-recorded video.
Right.
How all the cool things you can do with repurposing that content. So this is Both these workflow diagrams are available at repurpose.io/workflow. I think you can put a link in the episode.
We'll link in the comments below too.
Yeah, in the comments below. And then the whole idea is starting with a Facebook Live or a video on Facebook, and that's the key. When you put it on Facebook, think Facebook as your primary source of uploading. So you create the content or you go live, you upload it to Facebook, and then you can kick off all this magic. So example, we have another WordPress plugin that will automatically pull the video and embed it onto your WordPress site for you.
Right.
Have a blog post, instantly got a blog post. You don't have to do anything. It's fully automated. The video is embedded. All the comments, if you're doing a live, are automatically embedded as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like a piece of content on your blog, which is awesome. And it's automatic. Next rule you can set up is going to audio, like you mentioned a few minutes ago.
Right.
Speaking of Facebook video, you can have a rule that says, hey, take the video, strip out the audio, and then even cooler, if you have a generic intro and outro, you can upload that to our system. We can attach it right to the audio portion. And then we have an audio file. We can send that to a few different places. We have a direct integration with Libsyn. So if you're hosting your podcast with Libsyn, we can upload it to your Libsyn account with the title, description. So you basically have your podcast episode either live in the world, in the podcast world, or if you're not comfortable, you can have it as a draft. It'll be a draft, and you can schedule that later from inside of Libsyn.
Right.
But if you're not using Libsyn, it's cool. We do support SoundCloud. If you're on SoundCloud, we can upload to SoundCloud as well. But if you're not using Libsyn or SoundCloud, we have the option to send it right to your Dropbox. So
perfect.
MP3 file ready to rock. You take it, you upload it to your podcast host, and schedule it.
And then with this, you can also have it like send that Facebook video and have the system chop it up into like an IGTV kind of thing, and send it to Dropbox.
Yes. So with the video, it doesn't automatically. You have to select times.
Right. You select what's times.
Yeah. So another workflow is like you just mentioned, we can go straight from video to Dropbox, but in vertical format. So you're ready for IGTV or even stories, right? Stories are vertical as well, IG stories. So we have a little mini clip editor. So when you go into software, when you connect your Facebook and you hook up your Dropbox and you make this rule, you can see all your episodes, and you click this little scissors icon.
Yeah.
The video pops up. Then you can just drag a slider. You say, choop, choop, I want this chunk. Hit go, and it makes the video for you in either horizontal. It can leave it the way it is, or it can convert it into a vertical, or it can make it into a square. Yeah. Now, one of the coolest features, we just added this very recently, is the captions. So Facebook is nice enough on a page. If you go right to your Facebook page and edit any of your videos, here's an example. If you edit a video, you have the option right here under subtitles and captions, right, to just turn on the captions and auto-generate it. I've already uploaded mine. It's already good to go on this video, but you can auto-generate, and then you can go in and fix up the captions. Now, the main benefit, obviously, is that you get captions on your Facebook video, which is cool. It's good. People can read it. But then when we take it one step further, we actually, when you make these vertical or square videos, we can pull in the caption from Facebook, the one that you just cleaned up, and actually play it along the bottom so that the captions are burnt into the video, playing along as you're talking. The title comes from your episode title from your Facebook, and we added a nice progress bar. So you have social videos that are, either full length or clips that people can watch without having their sound on.
Yeah, it looks like a really high quality video. Like, it's a high quality video. It's got this really captivating title, the progress bar, the captions, like everything you need today to actually stand out. Because a lot of times the less quality stuff won't really cut it. So this like brings it to the forefront, and it does a lot of the work for you. Like the captions are the most time consuming part, but if you have a 3-minute video, it shouldn't be that much. 3 to 5 minutes, not a problem.
Yeah, and Facebook's pretty good. Their algorithm's pretty good. obviously depending on how noisy it is in the background and stuff
Correct.
like that. Go in, you fix it, or have someone on your team fix it. Like you can upload a video, set it as draft. Your team can come in, fix it, schedule it, and then once it's scheduled, then it goes live on Facebook, and then our software will make these videos for you and send them to wherever you want them to go. Everywhere. You can even, these are only examples, by the way, that you can send, you can make a vertical video and send it to another Facebook page, or make one, send it to another Facebook group. We can upload to Twitter directly. But the Dropbox is just showing as an example because most people want to go to IGTV.
Yeah.
So you can send it from video to vertical with the captions to Dropbox or Google Drive, and then upload it to IGTV, Instagram, or LinkedIn. I'm happy to show you quickly how simple this is.
If you have time, I mean, it's like.
I just want to show. I just want to give people a feel like how it is, how simple it is, how to make these kind of videos. So this is the repurposed software. It's an online tool, nothing to download, whatever. So it's all online based, web based. You log in, you add your connections.
Very simple to do. I've done it millions of times.
Platforms, your podcast, your Dropbox, your Facebook. I'm not going to do it now, but just choose one and you say add connection, authenticate, boom, you're good to go. And then the workflows, what I was talking about earlier, these blue arrows that we were showing earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make one that says, take my Facebook videos and go vertical to Dropbox. So this is just a title. This is just for me, like this.
Just for mental note, like naming convention.
Oh no, yeah. What is this rule doing? So I'm going to tell it, grab my Facebook video. I can tell it from my profile, group, or page. I'm going to take it from my page because the captions are on my page. I'm just going to grab from my test page. And then I'm going to say, you know what, upload the video. I mean, I can do snippets if I wanted to, but just for the demo, I'm just going to say, just take the whole video. It's a 3-minute video. Just grab the whole thing and send it to my Dropbox. And I could choose a subfolder if I wanted to, but for this demo, I'm not going to bother. And then that's it. So I made the workflow, which is the rule. So nothing has happened yet. I just created the rule. And then if you go view videos, it shows me all my videos on my page. And then before I can just hit publish and it'll just send it to Dropbox. But before I do that, I want to change the format. So by default, it just says take the video as it is and send it. But I say, nope, I want it to go vertical.
Square, yep.
Vertical. There's some color settings. You can tinker around with the background, text color, progress bar color, make it look good the way you want it. I'm going to leave it as default. And then here I'm going to turn on, say, add the caption from Facebook right into my video. And the rest, there's some cool options later on, intro, outro, but don't worry about that if you're starting off.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to go in here, and I know this video has captions, so I'm going to hit publish. And then it takes the title from my video, from my Facebook video. But if I want to change the title, because the title gets burned into the video, so if you want to make it captivating and almost like a headline for your video, you can tweak it here. But since we're demoing, I'm just going to leave it as it is. And that's it. So we just put this in the queue. I didn't do anything. Like with the software, I don't have to do anything. I just set up the rule. In a few seconds, it'll kick in. It'll start processing. And then maybe another 30 seconds. It's a short video. So about 30 seconds, it should be on my Dropbox. If it's not, I have another sample I can show you.
Yeah.
It's really
what I like,
easy.
Right. What I like about it is there is, like, once you do this once, all the videos you post after that will have the same effect.
Yes, I can just say
the same process.
Yeah, right now it's in manual. It's a good point. You're in manual mode now.
Right.
If I turn on this auto switch, kick it into automation, then every time I put a video on my page, it'll boom, 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 make the video, send it to my Dropbox. It just shows up. You don't need to log in the software, hit publish.
Yeah.
So
it just sits there in the background. So that's one of the things I love about it.
All right. And it's done. So I click on this little icon here. It takes me right to my Dropbox. And there it is. There's the video.
That's cool.
That is simple. And that's it. And that's all there is to it. I didn't have to do anything in the software. All the work was done when I turned on transcriptions, gave the video a title, and everything on Facebook when uploading it. So that's the beauty and the power of this is the automations to set it up and then let it do its thing.
Very cool, dude. I'm glad we got this on Facebook Live. I'm very glad we got this saved so I can actually send this out to people. And everyone in the group will definitely benefit from this too. So on their behalf, I'm thankful. So, Hani, what's the website one last time for them to connect with you? You know, you got a lot of videos on how to do more of these automation workflows, but which we'll have in the group as well. But where would be the best place to send people if they want to connect?
They want to connect with me and just kind of learn more about me. If you go to hanimourra.com, that way there's a link to all my tools that I have and to my blog and stuff like that. And if you want to try out the software, this tool itself is at repurpose.io, and we have a free trial, so you can try it out. Yeah, publish 4 videos and kind of get a feel for how to make these rules. It's really addictive. I'll warn you. Once you make one, you're like, oh my God, that was too easy. I'm going to make another one. So I'm warning you in a good way. Like you'll get hooked on how much time you're going to be saving with this tool.
Yeah, exactly. You'll want to experiment with different workflows and all kinds of different stuff. I've gone down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, holy cow, I got to do something else because I made SOPs now and I just have my team do it. But
that's smart.
Because
if you have a team, it's actually perfect. If you have a team, they can go in and manage everything from one place. So we're adding a couple cool things that are not available yet, but they're coming out very soon as well. It's been 2.5 years, but it's grown so fast in terms of functionality and power. We're adding a direct integration to LinkedIn. So you can upload videos directly to LinkedIn. So you don't have to go through Dropbox anymore. And then a few months later, I would say, maybe a few months later, we're pushing for a scheduler so that right now when you publish, it publishes on that like instantly. Yeah. But we're going to give an option where you can click and say schedule. And then you can say, hey, I want this one to go on February 1st and this one on February 7th, et cetera. So you can basically become your social media manager, but for your audio and video content. Right. It's not like a buffer where you do posts and stuff like that. It's different in a way that it's designed for your audio and video content.
Right. I like that. I think we've talked about this before, and that's going to be really powerful. So I appreciate that. And so repurpose.io for the free trial and hanimourra.com. Definitely. So Hani, is it Hani or Hani? I've called you Hani for so long. You've never corrected me. So
that's okay. I get it. Like I honestly, I got used to both, so I stopped. Yeah. But no, it's Hani. Officially, it's Hani.
Okay, it's Hani. All right. So same thing with me, like Luis. I get them both. I don't care anymore. Yeah. So yeah. All right, Hani, dude. Thank you so much. I really value your time here. And I'm glad we got this on Facebook Live. I wish I had the automation tool set up so we could strip this automatically, but I had to go back and set that up again, that other one up. So no worries. But just really thankful for your time, man, today. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me here.
Dude, you're welcome. And I know you've got some kids to pick up, and so I'll let you get off.
All right. Well, it's been fun, man. It's always fun connecting with you. And
likewise.
Opportunity.
Anytime, dude. Thank you.
Hey, and don't forget, I have a number of free bonuses for you. These are free templates, guides, and stuff that I've actually included in my recent book, How to Get Your First 100,000 Downloads in 100 Days. But you don't even have to buy the book. I'm just going to give this to you for free. All you have to do is go to LuisRyan, LuisRyan.com/book. There is a simple form where you fill out your name and your email, and you get a ton of free stuff, all the templates and guides that I included in the book, but you don't have to buy the book. So you're saving yourself a chunk of money that literally will take you probably less than 2 minutes to accomplish or perform. So enjoy that. That's my gift to you. Use it. Don't just let it fall by the wayside. And I'll see you on the next episode.